The sea of yellow you see around me is a signature of India in winters. I am standing in the middle of a field with mustard plants. Behind this sea of yellow at the Indian Agricultural Research Institute where I am standing, there is a lot of hard work which goes into the breeding of mustard. India is a net importer of oilseeds. With this quality breeding and with the use of better varieties, can India become Atmanirbhar or self-reliant in oilseeds? This episode is all about mustard and oilseeds. The mesmerizing and enchanting yellow you see around me, this is a field of mustard at the Indian Agricultural Research Institute in Delhi. Behind this sea of yellow, there is a lot of hard work which has gone into the breeding of quality mustard plants. To explain to us the challenges and difficulties in breeding mustard and the challenge of keeping India self-sufficient in oilseeds, we have with us Dr. D.K. Yadav. Namaskar, Yadav.
Namaskar, sir.
Dr. Yadav is an ace mustard breeder and is working hard to make India Atmanirbhar in oilseeds and edible oils. Dr. Yadav, what are these plants which we see and why is mustard so special?
These plants which we are seeing, this is one of our field of mustard seed production program. This is one variety Pusa mustard 28 which has been bred specifically for early sown and diversified agriculture conditions, which matures just in 100 days and it gives almost 20 quintals yield per hectare. And for this actually our breeding program is focusing mainly on to breed for diversified agriculture where we can grow the crop for early sown in the month of September, timely sown in the month of October and even in late sown where the fields are vacated late. So this is the program, and the other aspects of our program is quality. For breeding for quality, for oil content, for erucic acid, for glucosinate and hybrid development. So these are the major three areas where we are working for genetic enhancement for higher yield, good quality and suitable for the various under the changing climatic conditions.
Is mustard easy to breed and is it or hard, and do we have enough genetic diversity of mustard in India?
Yeah. Mustard, in fact, as far as the reproduction biology is concerned, it is a self-pollinated crop. In mustard, we have 6 species which we are growing in our country. One is Brassica gentiana, which we are seeing 85% of the area, which we call laha or mustard or raya. So that field we are having now. The another one is Brassica nepus, we call it as gobi sarson, that is being grown in the hilly areas, generally temperate zone. The another is Brassica rapa, earlier it was known as Brassica campestris. So that is having 3 cultivars, one is yellow sarson, brown sarson and thoria. And the another one is Brassica oleracea, which is generally we are having the vegetables which we are eating, and the Brassica nigra, which is also one of the parents of that, and the Brassica carinata, which is a new introduction, we call it as Karan Rai. So in these, except Brassica rapa, thoria and brown sarson, all the species they are self-pollinated, and nigra though it is self-incompatible.
Dr. Yadav, what are the key pests and diseases and challenges in mustard fields?
As far as the biotic stresses are concerned, so there are 3-4 diseases major in case of mustard. The most important as on now is Sclerotinia stem rot, which is generally now coming at a very larger scale in the various mustard growing areas. The another is the alternaria blight, which is also a serious disease, and third one is the white rust. So that can be controlled, we have the proper chemical control, but in case of sclerotinia, that is really a havoc. As far as the insects are concerned, so there are two insects mainly damaging this crop. One is painted bug, which comes at the time of sowing when the crop is at 3-4 leaf stage and temperature is high, more than 20 degrees centigrade in the night, so that is active, and many times it totally destroys the field, and farmers are to go for the re-sowing of the crop because of high temperature as well as because of this painted bug damage. The another very important insect is aphid. Aphid is generally coming when the cloudy weather is there and the flowers are there, so huge population of aphid is coming there, and in that case generally when we are sowing the crop in the late sown conditions, so at that time also the aphids are creating very havoc, and once the one day cloudy weather is inviting the aphids like anything. And the another one is the orobanki, is one parasitic weed in case of mustard. I think that is also creating major havoc in this crop nowadays in case of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and southern parts of the Haryana. And in Rajasthan I have seen that many fields they are totally wiped out because of the orobanki, which comes from the soil, from the roots, and the plant is totally stunted and it is just withering.
Let us now go and understand what is the larger issue about oil seeds and why does India need to import so much edible oil. And is Dr. Yadav's team working hard to give India a yellow revolution? Dr. Yadav, how much area is under mustard in India and what is the production?
In case of mustard, last year we had almost 6.25 million hectare area because of the very higher remunerative prices which the farmers got last year up to 8,000 rupees a quintal, and the timely rains during the month of October and in the end of September has increased the area, and I think 1 million hectare area more, and it will be going up to 7.5 million hectares area total this year. As far as production is concerned, so last year our production was 8.9 million tons with the productivity of 1300 kg per hectare. But this time the crop condition which you are seeing and the second estimate which has come only 3 days back, yes, the mustard production is more than 11 million tons this year, and we hope that it will be going above that. So the overall scenario and the deployment of the various high yielding varieties and hybrids at the farmers field is definitely going to give the dividend this time.
But is our yield per hectare of mustard equivalent to global standards, or other countries are getting much higher yield?
No, our yield as far as is concerned with the global average as well as the very potential countries globally is much lower. Our average once during 2018-19, it was 1500 kg per hectare. That was the highest achieved till now. Last year it was 13.31 quintals per hectare, and we hope that this time it should go beyond 1500 quintals per hectare. The global average last year was more than 20 quintals per hectare, whereas in some of the countries like in European countries it is 3.3 tons per hectare yield is there, and in UK it is 4 tons per hectare yield is there if you talk in the European Union, in UK itself. So we are much behind, but the only advantage with our material is that we have the varieties in the range of 100 days to 150 days, whereas in those countries the total maturity duration of those crops are 9 months, 8 months, 10 months like this. So our per day productivity, if we talk about in timely sown, it is almost 13 kg per day per hectare, and the early sown material, the variety which we are seeing, that is having the highest per day productivity of 18.63 kg per day per hectare. So per day productivity, if we talk, we are as good as any of the global country in productivity, but the overall productivity per hectare is little bit lower than the other countries. And
But what is the situation about edible oils? How much total amount of edible seeds and oils do we produce in India?
presently, we are having under total 9 edible oils, we are having 25 plus million hectares of area, and this might have been increasing this time because of the government's various policy, and the government is stressing hard to become Atmanirbhar in case of oilseeds. So now the production last year, the fourth advanced estimate was showing more than 33 million tons. But that is meeting only around our 40% of the total requirement, and for 60% we have to depend on other countries. Last year, from the various these 9 edible oils, which is the soybean, mustard and groundnut, they are the major oilseed crops, and the sunflower, sesame, safflower, Niger and linseed, they comes under the minor edible oilseed crops. And in that case, if we see that the government tried to infuse the more recent varieties, and we hope that that is going to be increasing the productivity this time, and the estimates which have come now, that is 37.15 million tons this time.
Why do we have to import so much? We have so much land area. Why cannot we grow our own edible oils?
You are, I think, correct to a larger extent. If we see various oilseeds and pulses crops, generally we are taking at the marginal lands and rain-fed areas, and in most of the cases hardly one irrigation, life-saving irrigation is available. The main reason behind is this, that the profitability of the crop, and wheresoever the good irrigation facilities are there, good soils are there, so farmers, they are preferring more rice, wheat, maize, which are more remunerative. They have the ensured return out of that. The fluctuation in the production and productivity is not that high, because under irrigation conditions you have the fixed date of sowing. So definitely you are going to get the fixed outcome also out of that. But in this case, we depend on the rains. Like I told that during this year, in the month of October or end of September, rains were there. If the rains are not there, it will come below 6 million hectare area also. So the farmers feel insecure, and in the sense that they will not be getting that much of the outcome out of mustard or the other edible oils crops. The other crops, major crops, groundnut and soybean, they are totally dependent on the rains, because being the kharif crops. So in that case, we see many times the rains are coming very late, many times the floods are there, so the crops are being damaged. So that's why the farmer is also afraid, because he has to run his livelihood from the agriculture itself. So that's why they are not coming forward with that much of eager.
So how much money is spent on, you said 60% of the edible oils are imported in India. How much outlay goes out of the country for imports?
During 2021 data, the total indigenous production was almost 10.53 million tons of edible oils, of which these 9 oils which I have told, that was having 7.53, and others 3.3 million ton was coming from the secondary sources like the palm oil, the tree-borne oils, corn oil, rice bran oil, and the import was more than 15 million tons. So total requirement was 25 million tons plus during last year, and in that our total expenditure on the imports was almost 77,000 crores we spent for the import of the edible oils.
So if we put more incentive to the farmer, can this gap be bridged?
Definitely you are true, and the government of India already is thinking over that and working over that, not thinking. And from 2 seasons, for the oilseeds particularly, the government of India has made the special provision for the funds, and now we are trying to infuse the latest released varieties, and we have put a benchmark for all the crops. Like in case of mustard, we will be promoting those varieties through the various schemes which have more than 2 tons per hectare of field. Likewise, in case of groundnut, we are trying to search out, already varieties are there. The only thing is that we have to produce their seed and we have to take those varieties to the farmer's field. In groundnut, we have put the benchmark as 4 tons per hectare. In case of soybean, we have put the benchmark of 2.5 tons per hectare. So like this, we are trying to identify the varieties, produce their seed and take it to the farmer's field. The other point is regarding the diversification, as you have talked. People who are working rice, wheat, they don't want to leave that.
Correct.
So in that condition, we need to give some incentive to the farmers. The Haryana government has already implemented that scheme, that they are trying to replace rice with maize in between the moong crop or any other short duration pulses, and in place of wheat, they are growing the mustard crop. So in that case, they are almost comfortable, and the government has given a scheme that for the replacement of 1 acre of rice, the farmer will be given an incentive of 7,000 rupees per acre. So that is the incentive which the farmers are getting, and they are encouraged to take more and more area under the mustard crop.
Dr. Yadav, there are some quality issues, and you are well known for breeding what is called a 00 variety. Tell me what it is.
In mustard, there are two basic quality issues. One is the higher concentration of erucic acid amongst the 5-6 major that fatty acids, and it is more than 40% in our traditional varieties, and the international standards, WHO and other medical bodies, they say that it should be less than 2% because it is not good for our health, particularly the heart. The another issue is the glucosinate, which goes in the defatted seed meal cape once the oil is extracted, and that is being fed to the poultry, to the piggery and to the cattle, and in that case our varieties, traditional varieties, they are having more almost 120 ppm of glucosinate in our varieties, but the international standards say that it should be less than 30 ppm. So in this case, actually it is causing the goiter problem to the cattle, low productivity, and some infertility problems are also coming. So for removing that, in our program, we have developed 2 double low type of variety. When this one trait is there, that is less than 2% erucic acid, we call it single zero. When less than 30 ppm of glucosinate, we call it as single zero for glucosinate, and when these both traits are in one variety, so that is called the 00, and we have given it as the name Indola now, and now we have 2 varieties from IRI, 2 varieties from PAU for the Indola type having the quality trait which we require.
Let us now go into the laboratory to understand how modern approaches are being used in the breeding of mustard. Let's go. We are now in the iconic genetics department of the Indian Agricultural Research Institute. The department well known for giving India the green revolution. Dr. Yadav, can we expect an enhanced yellow revolution? And what do you do in the laboratory, and how do you do quality testing?
Yes, definitely you can expect the enhanced yellow revolution. In the laboratory, we are integrating the modern genomic tools now. As under conventional breeding, generally the phenotyping is a problem. So for many of the traits now, the various markers, either it is gene merit markers or the linked markers of different type of markers, they are available. And by using those markers, we are trying to introgress the desired traits in our mustard material.
And how do you test quality? What happens there?
Yeah, in case of quality now we have the markers, but for that we have to go for the phenotyping also. For phenotyping, particularly for erucic fatty acid profile, we have the gas chromatography, and through that with the development of a protocol now, our own protocol for making the esters, we are generally testing almost 85 samples per day on 24/7 basis. Once the crop is over, in the month of April, the samples for the various advanced materials, various segregating materials, they are coming in the quality lab, and all the materials, almost 85 samples per day. So from April to the mid of October or end of the October, this gas chromatography is 24/7 working, and 85 samples per day we are doing through is. For the glucosinate particularly, we have the spectrophotometer, and through that we are screening all the material which is low in erucic acid through the gas chromatography. All those samples we are taking to the that spectrophotometer, and whatsoever the materials we are identifying from that, the advanced lines or the segregating material, that material is further advanced, and that is also integrated with the molecular breeding tool.
Having understood what happens in this laboratory, let's take a look at some of the other facilities. I am now standing in a facility where temperatures and carbon dioxide levels can be replicated as would happen when the earth warms up. This is called a Phytotron, and mustard is being tested here. Dr. Yadav, is mustard susceptible to global warming and climate change, and what kind of testing are you doing?
Yes, mustard is also one crop which is very highly susceptible to the climate, global climate change which are being projected. And as we know, the carbon dioxide levels are increasing. Presently it is more than 400 ppm, and the targeted level is 600 ppm. So enhancing carbon dioxide is good for crops, but the enhancement in the temperature with the enhanced carbon dioxide is detrimental for the crops. So keeping that in view, we are screening our material for the enhanced temperature also, so that under enhanced carbon dioxide its advantage can be taken with the tolerance to higher temperatures also. So at seedling stage we have developed a protocol where we are mimicking all the field conditions, that 40 degrees centigrade soil temperature plus minus 2 degrees centigrade, that facility we are creating here. And likewise for the terminal heat tolerance, because generally the farmers are not able to sow the crop in the month of October, which is the optimum time of sowing. So many times they are to go in the month of November. Once you go to in the month of November, then in the month of February the temperature shoots up and the crop is exposed to the higher temperature at reproduction stage. That leads to the reduced yield, reduced seed size and reduced oil content. So to test that also, we are trying to develop the protocol and screen our material under phytotonic conditions, so that we can identify the various donors, the various segregating populations from that which can be developed as a variety. The various facilities which have been developed at IRI in terms of phenomics facility, in terms of phytotonics facility, as well as the quality laboratory for quality analysis, we are in a very good, I think, success story for IRI, where we have developed the first short duration variety, the shortest duration variety, Pusa mustard 25, Pusa mustard 28, which matures just in 105 days with a very high yield and very high per day productivity. And likewise in quality also, IRI is the pioneer institute in terms of the first low erucic acid variety, Pusa Charisma during 2005, and now the first double low Pusa 00 mustard 31, the Indola quality, first Indian Indola quality variety, which has been developed through the various facilities which have been created by the Indian Agriculture Research Institute.
So will we see climate smart, climate resilient mustard varieties in times to come?
Definitely. We have already some material in farmers' field also for seedling stage temperature as well as the temperature at maturity stage. And whatsoever the material now is coming, whether it is the parental lines of the hybrids or it is the quality material or the diversified material for the various diversified cultivation conditions, we are trying to screen that in the field as well as under the phytotonic conditions, so that a climate smart material can reach to the farmers. So, and there is no risk of the yield reduction under the adverse conditions.
Having understood how scientists are developing mustard varieties which are climate resilient, let's now go back into the field and look at whether genetic modification of food crops is an option for making India self-reliant. Dr. Yadav, most of what we see in India is traditionally bred mustard. There is a lot of talk about modern genetic engineering and technique. Can you tell me a little bit about what is our status?
Yeah, in modern genetic tools, one is the marker history selection which is happening now in many crops, in oilseeds also, and we have good number of varieties through the marker history selection. In case of soybean, in mustard already our material is in advanced stage for the white rust and double low quality, indola quality. The another modern tools comes the recent one is the genome editing. Genome editing is one of the most potential tool I think, and we have already in the process of formulation of a project through one of our National Agriculture Science Fund, where we have taken many crops, oilseeds are also integral part of that. In that we are trying to, as I mentioned during the discussion, that orobanki, aphid, sclerotinia stem rot, and this alternaria blight, and even the fatty acid profile also. If we see in our case, when we are breeding the low uric acid variety, the oleic acid, which is one of the desirable oil, and that fatty acid, that is somewhere 45%, 47%, but the canola type material coming from other countries, that is having more than 70% of the oleic acid. So we need to address that, and the genome editing is the only tool which can address those issues. Already we have the sequences are there, and definitely we are taking that through genome editing. The another thing that transgenic, which we have been talking, I think Delhi University under the leadership of Dr. Deepak Pental, National Research Center on Plant Biotechnology in ICR, they have done a lot of work. Particularly Dr. Pental worked for the hybrid development through the transgenic system, that is Barnage Barnester is one system which leads to the male sterility and restoration of the different lines, and that leads to the hybrid development. That hybrid was tested under all the protocols that have been given by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change.
Is that GM mustard harmful? As a scientist, should we embrace genetically modified mustard?
There is no harm in that. All the biosafety issues, they are tested, and definitely we should embrace these new technologies. And in case of genome editing, as we are talking, I think the guidelines which are still in the process of approval, they should be approved immediately, so that the scientists, they are encouraged and they come forward in the genome editing as well as the transgenic varietal improvement program.
So will that help getting us more oil seeds in India?
Definitely that will help, because the various biotic and abiotic stresses, if we talk in case of soybean, the weeds, a major issue, charcoal rot, drought, yellow wing mosaic virus. So these are the diseases and the various biotic abiotic stresses which are hindering our total production, and a huge loss is there. So once we have the varieties tolerant and resistant to these various biotic and abiotic stresses, and particularly where we don't have the natural resistant sources, like in case of sclerotinia, we don't have very stable source. In case of orobanki, we don't have any source. So if we have this type of varieties through the genome editing or in the transgenic, so definitely they will be helping us in stabilizing and even enhancing the production and the targets which we are thinking about in the next 5 years, 10 years and 15 years. So definitely they can be meted out.
You have spent a lot of time breeding mustard. How soon can India become totally Atmanirbhar or self-reliant in oil seeds and edible oils?
We at the ministry level also, the position which I am holding, so in collaboration with DAC, we have developed a plan, and now our government of India is talking to develop the plan up to India Vision 2047. So in that plan, we have given the plan in such a way that by enhancing the area through crop diversification, going to the non-traditional areas, providing the high-yielding varieties, and giving the various government policies like mechanization and micro-irrigation system. So through those systems, we have planned that by 2034-35, we will be becoming self-reliant in edible oils.
Thanks a lot for speaking to us, Dr. Yadav, and may your dream of giving India a yellow revolution come true, and may India become totally self-sufficient in edible oils. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
This enchanting yellow you see behind me also signifies that there is a lot to be done still. India needs to be self-sufficient in edible oils and edible oil seeds. And for that, the government is working hard for bringing about a yellow revolution in the country. Keep watching India Science.